Hey everyone, my name is Navan Kothari, and this is the second interview within the Startup Founders series. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with Harsha Tambareni, a recent Georgia Tech grad, who's also the founder of a startup called Metaversity. How are you doing today, Harsha?
I'm good, Navan. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be able to be a part of something like this. Definitely staying connected with the college space and just talking about what I did. So hopefully I can inspire people.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for joining us. Glad that we could set some time today to have such an important discussion here. Talking about Metaversity, what would you say was the overall purpose and mission behind it? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So Metaversity has definitely come a long way from what it is right now. We've pivoted a lot and gone through a lot of cycles and changes, but at the end of the day, I think our mission stayed the same. We always wanted to empower young entrepreneurs and people that are just interested in building a business or, creating something for themselves. It definitely started with me trying to really understand what it takes to actually build business and get into the startup scene, especially as a college student. And I didn't really find much resources out there. The stuff that was out there was kind of all over the place and kind of hard to follow, and there's no accountability, guidance, mentorship along the way. So that's kind of where Metaversity came from.
Okay, perfect. And just so we can clarify there, you would say Metaversity, kind of an online education platform. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I would say Metaversity is a AI-driven, blockchain-based ed tech platform designed and aimed toward helping young entrepreneurs grow.
Okay, perfect. And looking at those technologies you mentioned, we have the blockchain technology, the Mentor AI system. Can you tell me a little bit about how you utilize the technologies within your platform and what's so great about those features?
Yeah, for sure. So we definitely started Metaversity at the height of the Web3 blockchain bull market, as you could say. So with that, it was definitely focusing on leveraging blockchain technology to mainly for credentials. So we use it for an access pass that you can actually purchase and get full access to our platform. And then once you're done learning or using our platform, you can actually sell it to someone else, something that's not really heard of in the ed tech space. And then another aspect of blockchain is for credentials. So a lot of times you go to these educational platforms and you'll just get a PDF, thanks for completing our course, which to be honest is pretty easy to forge, not saying I would, but it's pretty easy to. And so what we're doing is we're leveraging blockchain to create on-chain credentials where if you complete a course through Metaversity, you would actually get an on-chain certificate, which cannot be traded or copied. That makes it extremely reputable and potentially used in cases such as college diplomas. Yeah, so I just wanted to go AI a little bit, so I think recently, I would say probably beginning of this year, end of last year was when Chat GPT came out, and that was the massive boom of large language models. And I think that was the major shift for us as well, understanding that we could leverage this technology to provide personalized learning. And I think that's where we kind of get into that AI side of things.
Okay, it's great to hear. Glad to see you guys are kind of changing with the market, pivoting with those trends. And we're going to talk about Chat GPT in a little bit. But would you say that Mentor AI system, you're talking about it there, is it kind of modeled after Chat GPT? Have you guys, try adjusting it? What has that creation process been like?
Yeah, so it's definitely based on the GPT API. So just leveraging that technology, all of the training and all of the parameters that it's gone through. It's definitely one of the best large language models out there. So we're essentially taking that technology, but tailoring it to our niche case of education. So just providing it with a bunch of personalized onboarding questions to really understand what the student wants, and then being able to create content and guidelines and scheduling out and mentorship for these students so that they actually follow through with their education. That's kind of the route that we're going on, but definitely still based on GPT.
Okay, that's great to hear, especially that personalization factor of it. Each student can put it to what their needs and their demands are, which I think is something great when it comes to that technology. Kind of shifting gears into the overall startup process that you have had and your team has had. What was your thought process behind Metaversity? Why did you want to pursue this path of being a young entrepreneur? What was the inspiration? Anything behind that? Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I think it definitely started from my parents. So my parents both, came here soon after they got married. I was like 1 years old when I came here, and then they decided to start their own business, just like an IT training company. It, didn't go well for them for several years, but they pushed through, and now it's doing pretty well. So just being able to understand from their hardships, and then also understand the both financial freedom and just regular freedom they've been able to achieve, and be able to spend more time with us, just when we were young and growing up. Seeing that process was definitely inspiring. And I think when it comes to Metaversity itself, I always knew that I wanted to follow that pathway. I think it was more so understanding what side of it I wanted to go down. So I actually started my, I guess, entrepreneurial journey in content creation and marketing. So I have a organic marketing agency where I've been able to help multiple brands and businesses, creators, build organically on Instagram and TikTok, and just, create an audience that they can monetize and build from. And just understanding those concepts, I think I realized Metaversity was something that a lot of people could get value from. And not only would it be pretty cool to have and create, but it would also provide pretty good social impact and be a positive thing that we're putting out in the world.
When talking about the customer discovery process for Metaversity, what kind of questions were you asking and what kind of responses were you receiving that really made you want to push more for this?
To be honest, I didn't know what questions to ask when I first started. I was like, okay, I have this concept, but it's really broad niche. And whenever you're first starting a business, you really wanted to hone into a niche, first of all, and then also specialize in that niche. So I just, asked friends around me. We've actually had built up like a pretty good Discord before we even came up with the full concept. So just talking to members in there and asking them literally like, okay, you're here, like, why did you come here in the first place? And what are you trying to get from us? We literally just first started as a Discord server that had a bunch of free information on blockchain, NFTs, Web3, crypto, right? And from that, we were like, okay, now that we've just provided this free education, let's really understand what people want. And from there, just having conversations, not even asking questions, honestly, I found that the biggest thing was one, that people, there's resources all over the place on how to, build these businesses, leverage these technologies. But like I said earlier, they're not centralized and they're not personalized, right? You can learn from it, but how do you really apply it? And that goes to my second point, was these people wanted to create these businesses, but they had no form of mentorship or accountability unless they paid someone thousands of dollars. And so for us, that was what sparked that conversation of, okay, maybe this is something that we can do, is create all this content in one place for someone to understand, and then also find a way to create cheap and scalable mentorship and guidance. So I think those were kind of the conversations more so than questions and answers that we had. But
Yeah, thank you for that. It's amazing to hear that you guys started just as a Discord channel and now have taken it to where you guys are now. And having those conversations, I think it's honestly underrated sometimes. It's not always about, the questions and answers, but it's talking about this content, and you really get a lot of insights from that. So that's great to hear that you guys are working on that process too. And, kind of talking about the challenges about startups. Every startup has those challenges, and it might be the funding, some of the technology, maybe it comes into just the time commitment that people are putting into it. It could be anything. There's challenges that are coming during startups. And I'm curious to know, what challenges did y'all face in the process and even facing now? And what are you doing to address those issues?
yeah, so I think definitely something that every startup faces, and being able to understand what the mistakes and problems are and how you're combating them is the most important, rather than just finding a solution outright. But for us personally, I think the first issue we made is really just trying to be perfect. We spent months trying to create a product that would be extremely perfect, satisfy every single person's needs, which is impossible, by the way, and just be able to create something that no one will be unsatisfied by. And we realized, I would say relatively later than we should, that that's not necessarily the case, but it's better to at least put something out, get feedback, iterate, and then make something better. And then get back to those people that are unsatisfied and be like, hey, I actually listened to you. here's what I have to do, here's what I have to offer, and tell me what you think about now. So that was definitely one major thing. I think for me personally, another mistake was having too much on my plate at once. So I was, going through a full-time college load. I was on a dance team at Georgia Tech. And I'd say we'd practice for like 4 to 6 hours a day. Just all of that combined was a little too much to where I couldn't put my full heart and effort into this. And I think that in itself slowed me down. So really just, one, not trying to be perfect and just being able to make something that you think is pretty good and learn from it and build something even better. And then two is don't try to do multiple things at once, because you won't be able to wholeheartedly fulfill one of those things. So those are the definitely the main mistakes I think we've made, and definitely grown from it. And we keep making mistakes, but the best thing you can do is learn.
Yeah, I think that's just part of the process, and being okay with making those mistakes, and not giving up on that as well. And it's great to hear, you talk about the iteration process and also that full commitment part. I think a lot of, it doesn't even have to be a startup, but let's say you want to get really good at, coding, for example, be an expert in one kind of language, you really got to put your time and effort into it and kind of block away some of the distractions if you really want to dive deep into it. And I think that's great that you touched on that. So I kind of want to get your perspective on just AI technologies. We were talking about Chat GPT. It continues to amaze the world about what it can accomplish. And so I'm curious to know, how do you use it in your work and your experiences? And maybe what are some of the misconceptions about it that you notice? And are people using it correctly, incorrectly? Just talk to me about that.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot going on in the space. I think every single day there's a new tool popping up, a new AI innovation, new research. But overall, for me personally, to just start with, to be honest, use Chat GPT around 3 to 5 hours a day, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's really not. I would say I use it for at least 2 hours to just create content, especially for LinkedIn, for Twitter, creating video scripts to post on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm not just saying throw in some idea and get out the stupid result it produces, but actually understanding how to use and leverage it. So I actually, something that people usually think about is that AI gives you terrible robotic output, and for sure that's true. But if you start training it on your own personalized writing and your own content, it'll slowly start to actually be able to write like you and understand how you work. And that in itself has saved me countless hours. Another misconception, I think, is the big one, is that AI is going to take everyone's job, right? And I mean, sure, it's definitely true. AI will take some jobs, right? But I think it'll create a lot more jobs where people can now not spend time doing those menial tasks that can be automated and now focus on more specialized tasks. And then two, they can actually go in and leverage this tech to save hours of time. I think it's kind of like, this is what I like to say to everyone, like the farmer didn't lose his job just because the tractor was invented, right? The farmer started making 3 to 5x his income because the tractor was invented. And then the farmers that were still hand tilling and cleaning up their yards and stuff, they weren't doing that well. And I think it's the same exact concept, where if you're not leveraging this new technology, you will potentially lose your job by someone that is leveraging the technology, not by some random robot online, but just by another individual that understands how to make the most of what's available at them or available to them.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely hit the point right there. Talking about knowing how to utilize it, how to leverage it. I think that's really going to be important. We're going to see it more and more, within the different industries, about people using it this way and someone else not using it this way. I think that's going to be very important. And you touched on a little bit earlier, using ChatGPT a lot and other new technologies that are coming out every day. So just to ask you here, what new technologies are you seeing right now, besides maybe ChatGPT, that you think are on the rise, and that maybe within the next few months or even year or two could really be an impactful player in that space?
Yeah, I would definitely say my second most used tool would be for like Stable Diffusion products, which for anyone that is unaware is kind of a Chat GPT for images and visual content. So Midjourney is one of the biggest AI tools out there for generative art. I use that to create templates, to create art for my content, to create images just on demand. I think that's definitely going to be another massive source of, leveraging AI to make your life better. I'd say some other things are I'd say the other sensory forms of AI. So Chat GPT would be the literary form of that. And now going into Meta just releasing a brand new tool that is a voice synthesizer that's AI based and trained. Being able to augment all the different senses and create content on all different types of media, I think is going to be the wave of AI. And what I mean by that is not just having some stupid AI avatar talking to you on some AI generated screen, right? But leveraging that content to literally test stuff out. For me now, it used to be, okay, I have a content idea, I have to make a script for it and then even try it out to see what's going to happen. But now I can come up with 5 content ideas, come up with 30 scripts, and then be like, okay, I like these ones, let's test those out. So it's still maintaining that human touch, but leveraging all of these new emerging techs with all these different platforms and medium to be able to optimize your output.
No, definitely. I think like you even talk about the farmer example, just increasing output, increasing efficiency. I think that testing process is really important. And that can really be applied for anything, especially in media and kind of the work you do, testing out different, maybe it's a caption, different posts, seeing how that works. That's great to see that that technologies are coming and that you're also using that in your everyday life. Apple just launched their new Vision Pro earlier this June. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts on it. A lot of people have different opinions, some talking about the price, some talking about the technologies, and maybe it could be a new player in this space. So, just tell me a little bit about your thoughts and perspective on it, and maybe how could it be used in Metaversity in your own startup?
Yeah, so I mean, just starting off with that price, it's a pretty steep price, but the thing is, it is called a Vision Pro for a reason. It may be a more advanced model to just warm up the audience and the people to this new concept, but there potentially could be a more consumer-friendly price and product that they would be launching in the near future. But regardless, I think Apple releasing an XR technology is pretty incredible. Especially because they are such a big player, it makes people a little more comfortable about these technologies. It's definitely going to be pivotal, especially in the world of education. I think when it comes to accessibility, which is something we think about all the time, something we actually have in our long-term roadmap is creating extremely accessible XR technology to then integrate our education and other educational systems into this tech, so then we can provide more people with access to education. I think that's something that we're really looking forward to. And, seeing Apple release something like this is definitely heartwarming for us and hopeful. One thing I will say, though, is something unique that Apple did at their showcase is they didn't use the word AI at all. And I think this was on purpose because the word AI is such a scary term right now. A lot of people are scared about that, losing their job or taking away creativity aspect. So I do think they're really slowly trying to onboard the people into this tech and this new frightening world. And hopefully I'm there to ride along with it.
Yeah, I know. Great you mentioned that. I did read that article that they didn't mention it at all. I was just surprised. And it's interesting to see how that just that one word AI really hits people differently when they hear that versus when they don't hear it about it at all, how their just opinions and perspective changes on a product. So I think Apple definitely knew what they were doing with that. Going back to a little bit about Metaversity. So if I'm understanding correctly, right now the platform is not launched. Whoever has the interest is maybe on the Discord on the wait list. What has that process been like, maybe from today and looking into the future outlook? And is there a possible month or day that your team is targeting for really launching this platform out?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a long ride. I think, just another problem, I guess, that we encountered early on was finding the right team to develop the product. Like I said, my background is in marketing, so we've been killing it in the marketing angle, but when it comes to product, that's been a little slower. So now that we've finally got a team ready to go, we're planning to launch by the end of this month, starting out with actually a smaller just tool suite of educational content and content for businesses and creators to use to bootstrap their businesses, and then slowly start rolling out that educational content. So when it comes to the wait list, something we did is recently started just creating a newsletter, rather than just having people idling in an email list on Excel. They're actually getting free content to their email every single week and updates on what's actually going on behind the scenes to create the Metaversity product. So that's definitely been a lot cooler, especially, on Discord again, trying to get that back and active so we can hype up the product and keep it going.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you guys are taking those steps. And when you say content within those newsletters, what kind of content are we talking about?
Yeah, so it's mainly just AI news. There's a lot of stuff going on in the space, and being able to get a clear, filtered version of that is pretty pivotal, especially to keep people from being so scared with this much noise going on. And then along with that, we always drop a bunch of free tips and techniques that you can use to leverage AI to help your business, school, work, whatever it is. Just dropping those tidbits, and then also going into the space of just sharing AI tools, stuff that we're using, stuff that other people are using that people can use themselves.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear. I see it on LinkedIn all the time, people sharing, a list of 10, 15 new AI technologies. Always interesting just to see what is out there and, hearing from other people. And, again, just want to say thank you for your time today. It's been a great conversation here, learning about Metaversity, your startup journey, and, your perspective on AI. And just my last question here is, what advice would you have for those young entrepreneurs? You were obviously in college, doing a lot. You had your dance team, and now where you are in your startup journey, what advice would you have for those people really wanting to step into that space?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I tell everyone is just do it today. Like, don't think about it and be like, yo, I'm gonna start at the end of the week. I'm gonna start on this auspicious day. Like, nah, don't do any of that. Just start today, and starting can literally just mean searching it up and learning about what you want to do. Right? It doesn't have to be, creating some detailed accounts and registering your business, but just really going in and diving into what you want to make. And I think that's like all I can say. That's probably the biggest hurdle that it takes for someone to start their journey, and just saying fuck it and doing it is the key.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with that answer. And I think a lot of it is people thinking about, what is the right timing. But sometimes, like you're saying, you just got to go for it and figure it out. And you're going to mess up. As you were talking about some of the mistakes that you guys have been, going through. And I think that's just part of the journey. And it's not something to, be afraid of. And kind of just go for it. I think college is a great time really to step into that. You have some people may not have as much responsibilities depending on where you are in your life. And I think it's great to really get your feet wet in that exposure. There's a lot of clubs and environments that really can really help you that and with that network.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so thank you again for joining us today. If you guys want to learn more about Metaversity, check out the links in the bio. And if you want to watch the previous videos from my channel and also in the Startup Founder series, do check those out as well. And once again, thank you, Harsha, for this conversation. It was great hearing about everything from AI to Metaversity and your journey. And I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Definitely some amazing questions. Hope I, could have helped someone out, and yeah, always here.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.